Hi y'all, welcome to Chao Time. On today's episode, I'll be reviewing this watch, the Seiko SARB017, better known as the Alpinist. This is the older version of the Alpinist, the previous model, not the one with the Prospex X or the new movement. The way that I review watches is against a set of well-defined criteria, also known as a rubric. A link to the rubric is available in the description below. The first part of the review is an objective rating on the standardized rubric. Each aspect or component of the watch will be graded on a 1 to 10 scale in two categories, form and function. Then, I'll rate the watch in a more subjective category, brand, heritage, and prestige, also on a 1 to 10 scale. However, because I got my mind on my money and my money on my mind, I apply a value multiplier. It's a non-scientifically formulated equation that models the diminishing returns on buying more and more expensive items. Essentially, the cheaper the watch, the higher the value multiplier, which gives it a higher value score. Grading on a curve. Finally, I give a subjective opinion based on my experience with the watch, my emotional attachment, how it speaks to my soul, the way that we think about watches in more of an everyday context, and the reason that we spend exorbitant amounts of money on these watches. So, let's get to it! The Seiko Alpinist was the standard bearer for case finishing before the AliExpress watches hit the scene. It has a classic case shape with a high polish all over and brushed lug tops. It feels nice in the hand. The crystal is a flat sapphire, which really stood out for Seiko's in 2006, as many of their watches had hardlex crystals. It also has a beveled edge, which looks nice from the profile view. The crown is signed and the case back is engraved, and the classic Alpinist logo that dates back to 1963 is there. Well done, Seiko. 7 out of 10. The case is fairly functional as well. The case is made of stainless steel, which is good for corrosion resistance, and the sapphire crystal is pretty resistant to scratches. However, the polished case gets micro scratches very, very easily. The little mountaineering watch is also rated for 200 meters of water resistance with the screw down crown and case back. I really love that because I cannot get over the fear of water ingress on push down crowns, even when they have a gasket. I really wish that this watch had a better strap option at the time. I ended up buying an aftermarket bracelet, which I won't review since it doesn't come with the watch, but let's just say unofficially that it's a Seiko bracelet, which means there are funky aspects of its functionality and comfort. This is one of the few Seikos at this price point that isn't plagued with quality control issues. Thumbs up! The crown is easy to unscrew, and the secondary compass crown is also easy to operate. 8 out of 10. Onto the dial. There's a bit of a sunburst effect with gold indices, which I think is an amazing combo. The indices are applied, but they're very thin, and it almost defeats the purpose of an applied indice to me. I love the cathedral hands though. All these gold elements are polished. The compass looks nice, but the minute and second markings around the edge along the compass looks quite cluttered to me. It rides a fine line between legibility with the applied indices and too busy with all the markings along the perimeter. I like the black date disc and the lume plots nicely integrate into the design. However, when you look at the dial and case combined, it seems like many of these components clash with each other. If it's a mountaineering watch, why the gold? Why so little lume? It's all so dressy for a mountain watch, no? 6 for form, 4.5 for function. On to the movement. This watch has the 6R15, which is hackable and hand widening. It beats at 21,600 beats per minute and has a date function. Nothing special to look at, but pretty robust and reliable. Perfect for adventuring. 4 points for form, 4 points for function, due to the inconsistency in timekeeping, as they are rated at -15 to +25 seconds per day, and the limited number of complications. So far, that's a 33.5 out of 60, which is pretty good for an in-house mechanical Seiko. I believe the Seiko brand sits just outside of the Swiss giants, but the Alpinist has some serious heritage. Seiko has a tremendous history dating back to 1881, but the first Alpinist dates back to 1961. I personally am a huge fan of the brand and the 2006 line of SARB watches. 6.5 for heritage and prestige. So the new Alpinists are slightly different than this discontinued version with the cursive automatic text and costs about $600 to $700 new depending on where you go. The version I have seems to be going for about $400 on the used market. Plug that into my diminishing returns equation and that gives me a multiplier of 1.685 and a value score of 67.4, punching way above its value. Since this is my second official watch review, there's not much to compare this number to yet, but unofficially, I can tell you that this is good. My more expensive entry to mid-level Swiss watches cannot compare. So, that brings me to my personal opinion on the piece. This one is really hard for me to pin down. On many levels, I really enjoy the watch. There are many aesthetic aspects of it that I really enjoy. I just don't find that it comes together that well. When I wear it, I do really enjoy it, and at the end of the week, when I'm getting ready to switch watches, I don't really look forward to the next one. I love having it on this current strap now. It's some cheap Walmart or Amazon thing, but any strap I've had on it really feels like it belongs on it. I do think this is a keeper, although sometimes I do think about passing it along. Do you agree with the scoring? Think that the rubric can be improved in any way? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Bye, y'all.